G'day new starters, Merry Christmas. Well, I woke up yesterday morning with Christmas carols in my head, and I knew that I had entered the Christmas season. This year has been one of the most mentally stressful years of my life, and as the beginning of the year, and I was looking forward through all the things I had to achieve in this year, and I said to myself that when you get to Christmas, all of those things will be behind you. And it's one of those little mechanisms I have used across the years that many people do use that helps get some perspective on situations. Although I've got to tell you, there were times where I was not certain I was going to make it to Christmas. But now, here we are. And Christmas is just a couple of weeks away, and this Sunday and next Sunday I want to try and reflect on some of the most compelling things about Christmas. And for me, I find myself at Christmas time, as we stretch into the new year, very much in a contemplative, reflective mode. That's just where my brain goes to, particularly as now all that stress is behind me, and I'm beginning to relax, and I'm thinking about what happened this year and how I achieved things, and what kind of attitudes I reflected during those times, and how I felt about myself during those processes. I think about all those things, and I'm not always wildly thrilled about the way that I handle those situations. And after years and years of processing so much of these issues, there are still pieces of my life that I sure wish I was better at managing my emotional stresses at different times. But nevertheless, I am what I am. And so I come to this season and I very deliberately choose to focus on one issue above everything else. I just love Christmas. I love the spontaneous joy that begins to take place around Christmas. Of course, everyone's running frantically and trying to buy stuff and probably spending too much money. But underneath all of that activity, for most, at least many people, there is that joy of the season that's beneath everything, and you begin to see it reflected in the media, and you begin to hear in people's conversations, and you begin to sense it as you go shopping. There is this undergirding joy that is a part of Christmas, and we can look at that and say, well, that's because people are going to be spending time together as families, and people usually have holidays at this time of the year, and all of those sorts of things. But Christmas is predicated on a truth that is profoundly wonderful, and sometimes it is so wonderful, it's so amazing that it's beyond the grasp of many people. And so even as they come into Christmas and recognize it's the story of the birth of Jesus that is behind all of this Christmas thing, the reality of what that represents just seems too much for many to grasp. But in reality, faith begins at the point where we say, I believe that God is a God of love, that He loves us so much that He cannot contain Himself, that He gives Himself freely into humanity and has walked into this world in the form of Jesus Christ, that He might give Himself to us, that we might have relationship with Him. And the grandeur of that and the wonder of that can sometimes cause us to miss even a more profound truth. And for me, it's in the form of with all of my failings, with all of my limitations, with all that I wished I was better at, with all of that, He still loves me. He looks at me and He says, I give myself for you. And for many years I was lost in the illusion that God loved humanity and gave Himself, and it's an illusion in the sense that it's incomplete. Yes, He loves humanity. Of course He loves humanity. But the illusion of that I missed was, regardless of what I might say, it never really occurred to me that He loved me, and that he knew everything about me, and he loved me. And that became the foundation for the transformation of my life. And that actually happened after I had, by faith, accepted his love into my life and accepted his salvation. After that, many years after that, I started to realize he loved me with all of my limitations. And so as I come into this season every year, I choose to remember that regardless of what I may have failed at in the past 12 months, he knows it, and he loves me anyway. And so in these next couple of weeks, as you get closer and closer to Christmas, let that be the resonating thought of your days. He loves you specifically, personally, individually, and he gave himself for you. Have a Merry Christmas.